Hey there, campers, and welcome back to the channel. Mark here with another Star Wars Unlimited deck tech video for you. Now, before we jump in, go ahead, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know whenever we post new videos about Star Wars Unlimited, Pokemon, or the card game Lorcana. As we're going to take a look at the deck today, I am in week 4 of an 8-week-long Discord league over in one of my servers. And in that league, we are playing either Heroism or Villainy for the first 4 weeks. Then we have the option to switch the second 4 weeks. In these first 4 weeks, I have been playing variations of Luke, and in the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be playing 4 different variations of Vader. For the first week, I played Luke Red, then Luke Green, then Luke Yellow, then Luke Green. This week, I played Luke Blue. Now, the first 3 weeks, I went 3-0. We had great games, and it ended up working out really well for us. This week, I got absolutely mercilessly torn apart by our Discord Leagues champion from Season 1 and Season 2, who is undefeated so far at Season 3 and remains to be so. Navalis absolutely tore this apart with his Cad Bane Blue deck, a deck that I didn't really see coming, but actually in one of the planetary qualifiers did quite well recently. Hit a top 8, I think, in Europe, and one of the planetary qualifiers just this past week, which is super cool. But that deck absolutely mercilessly tore apart this Luke Blue deck. We're going to take a look at it. I'll give you a couple of thoughts on it, maybe some of the ways that I'd be able to make it a little bit better now that I've played it a little bit. We are playing, of course, Luke Skywalker, flips on 6 and is a 4/7. When he attacks, gives a shield to a friendly unit. His usual ability is exhaust him, exhaust 1 resource, give a shield token to a heroism unit that you played this phase. I also played Security Complex just because I wanted that extra opportunity to grab that shield. In that, as an epic action, give a shield token to a non-leader unit. Now, for the cards that I ran a Protector. This is our first double Vigilance, gives a +1/+1, and Sentinel. This is incredibly powerful with the shields that Luke brings out. It enables us to do things we previously would not have been able to do, enabling us to do things like make a village protectors out of nowhere by giving them +1/+1, Sentinel, and then giving it shield tokens. R2-D2, because he's a great card. Restored Arc for the space lane. 1 copy of Luke's lightsaber. 2 copies of, I've never pronounced this guy's name right, Kyal, whatever. He is MVP of this set. A 2 resource, 2/3 with Restore 1 on attack. You look at the top card of your deck and you discard it if it does not match your base color. If it does match your base color, you draw it, which of course really draws everything in this deck with the exception of R2-D2, which oftentimes we don't mind burning anyway. Very strong card. A little niche pick here. I ended up going with Follower of the Way. He's a 2 resource vigilance only unit. 1/3 Mandalorian. While it's upgraded, give it a +1/+1. I revolved a lot around sort of like upgrading with vigilance or security complex to give it shields, Jedi lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber, or protector to give it a buff. All of those shields count, and so a lot of times this Follower of the Way followed up by maybe a protector and security complex on the next round makes this guy super stacked, giving him +2/+2, making him a 3/5 with a shield and with Sentinel on turn 2. It's really quite strong. We're playing Yoda, Jedi lightsaber, 2 copies, Concord Dawn Interceptors, Village Protectors, Vigilance, of course. I'm actually running copies of Razor Crest. I think this card's actually pretty good. The 4 resource 3/4 is an okay body. It gives Restore 2, which is pretty nice. And then whenever you play it, you do get to return something like your Jedi lightsaber, your Luke's lightsaber, or your Protector from your discard to your hand and get a chance to reuse it. I ended up putting Rose Tico in this deck simply because she can defeat shields to give experience tokens. Another way to convert the things that you're putting out already with Luke and with Vigilance and with Security Complex and with Luke when he flips into just an opportunity for more stats on the board. Ran 2 copies of Fel the Dragon, 2 copies of Rey, just because she gets that chance to heal up. She's pretty strong turn 5. 4/7's pretty hard to get rid of. Gives you something to really snowball into in the next round. Obi-Wan Kenobi, because it's the best flip with Luke. A couple copies of Rival Fall, 3 copies of Luke Lightsaber, because it's the best legendary in Vigilance Heroism, and then 2 copies of the top end of the new set 2 Chewbacca. This deck on the ladder did not do terrible. I finally found sort of a mix that felt good. You'll see this is try 3. I tried a couple different variations of this deck with a couple of different cards in it and didn't have a tremendous amount of luck with it. Now, when I went up against the Cad Blue deck, one of the things was just this deck really wants to build a board, protect that board, and then snowball that board. It wants to be able to get an earlier Follower of the Way out or an R2-D2, hit it with Protector, Jedi lightsaber, Shim shields, get that Yoda out, get it buffed up, protect it behind the village protectors, and just value trade your way through the game. In my case, whenever I went up against the Cad Blue deck, that whole deck was built around ambush and direct removal, and so I could just never constitute a board, and if you can't constitute a board when you flip Luke, you're just in a really bad situation. situation. So even if you can get the Obi-Wan down, if you can't get Luke out before Obi-Wan gets killed, it's really hard to be able to build much of a board in a 6-resource 4/6. In my case, my opponent 2 games in a row, drew Forlom into Zuckuss turn 4 and 5. There was just nothing that I could do about that. Both of those games just got completely snowballed outside of my control, even though I removed the Forlom the turn that it came down both games. By the time Zuckuss came down and he had a 6/6 on board, I was trading into that and couldn't get rid of it. Didn't have anything with Eye of Attack, didn't have the Fell the Dragon in hand, couldn't constitute a board, and because of that, ultimately ended up losing. Just had a lot of us that could immediately remove total, complete point-and-click removal deck that just really tore me apart. But we're going to go ahead and take this Luke Blue deck onto the ladder, see if we can't get a little bit of experience with it over on Karabast, and see if we can't win out with a couple of games. Okay, guys, here we are against a Leia Red deck, certainly something that's probably going to be aggressive. In this case, we have a turn 1. Let's go ahead and not take the mulligan here. We have a couple of good cards in hand. We're going to go ahead and get rid of a Rose, and then let's go ahead and get rid of 1 copy of Vigilance. Our opponent is likely to play a lot of stuff in the space lane this game, and so that's something that we need to be careful of. And we're going to play this guy here, the Fringe guy here. Just take that Restore. There we go. Yep, not at all surprised by that. That was absolutely to be expected. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of the R2-D2. We might be against an all-space deck here, which does put us in a pretty bad situation. Let's just go ahead and get the Concord Dawn Interceptors out. If he does attack into it, we get to remove it. If he doesn't attack into it, we shield it almost immediately. Almost immediately we shield that. Oh my gosh, he is going to For a Cause to Believe in at the very beginning of the game, which he must have just had sort of a bit of a dead hand, choosing to not attack as well. We actually hit the 1 card in our deck that we couldn't use, which is a bit of a bummer, but hey, it is what it is. I think this turn is probably a Vigilance turn, but we are going to see what our opponent wants to do here. Okay, he's going to play the red 3. I think that this is just Vigilance. We are going to defeat something and give something a shield. Let's go ahead and defeat the red 3 and give a shield to our Concord Dawn. Meanwhile, we're just drawing cards and healing up over here, which is pretty good. And our opponent's just going to claim the initiative. And we got another Concord Dawn, which is great for us. Protector as well, pretty good. We can now use that over here in this lane if we need to. 2 copies of Yoda, probably more than what we need. Just kind of waiting to see what our opponent wants to play here. Okay, we got the... that's actually great for us, I think. I think... in this case, like, it would remove this. If we played it, I think that instead we play the Yoda. We see what our opponent wants to do. Our opponent is once again going to claim initiative. We're going to give this and a shield token to Yoda. And then we're going to go ahead. We'll just take the 1 damage to his base here. That's totally fine. And pass. Okay, in a good situation now. I think we're going to go ahead and get rid of Follower of the Way. We're not trying to sort of conquer the board. We already went ahead and played Protector over here. We have a shielded Sentinel basically in each lane, which is pretty good. I think in this case, he probably goes ahead and gets rid of Protector, which would be really smart of him here. Chooses to get rid of the shield, which is interesting. That's probably not the play I would have made, but let's go ahead and remove it so we can't get the added value off of Leia here. And then Leia's going to hit the board. Let's go ahead and play our Village Protectors, just really making this lane as concrete as humanly possible. I'm going to draw my card here, not let him draw a card. That could actually theoretically change what we're doing this round. And our opponent's going to go ahead and claim initiative. We're going to take the 1 damage to his base, and then we are going to go ahead and give a shield to our Village Protectors. We're going to deploy our Luke, and we're going to take our Luke into his Leia, give a shield token here. We're going to take this into base and draw a card, and then we're going to go ahead and fully heal and also shield up our Luke. And this game's all but over. I think our opponent should probably pretty clearly be able to see the writings on the wall. We're up to Luke Skywalker. We have 0 damage on our base. If there is something that this deck plays really well up against, it is these sort of flood the board centric decks that we see here, the more aggressive strategies. I found that anything that's a little bit more defensive, it really does struggle against. I mean, in this case, our opponent floods the board with all kinds of stuff, which is great for him. I think the unfortunate reality is here, it doesn't really matter that much, as we're about to see, right? It doesn't really matter that much. We can just take this damage into here and remove it, and then we're just going to remove, he's going to start chucking stuff into there. We're going to remove the Sabine and shield our village protectors again. And our opponent's just going to go ahead and take initiative. We're going to play this, and then let's just Luke Skywalker and start getting rid of the stuff in his field lane. We're still at 0 damage, and just absolutely taking our opponent and wrecking them, which feels great. Let's go ahead and get rid of this Rose. We don't have any need for it. K2SO really doesn't make any difference here. I think at this point, we are on the just deal damage to our opponent train. We don't need to be on anything else. He doesn't really have anything that he can do to stop us from just ending the game. Being at 0 damage, gonna take the Rebel Assault and remove a couple of things. Doesn't really matter once again there. Let's just take the 6 damage to base. And we have him very, very close to dead. Oh, and there it is. There's the surrender. There you go, guys. Game 1 against a sort of aggressive Leia deck. Maybe not the meta deck, but against an aggressive Leia deck. Let's see if we can't get another win. Okay, guys, here we are back. Now, full transparency, this has not been an easy deck to get a couple of wins with to showcase what it can do. Instead, we've had a lot of games that just haven't gone super well for us. I like to showcase a couple of games, and in many cases, the games that I play do just flat out win both games. In this case, this Luke Blue deck has had a little bit of a harder time doing that. We're going to play against this this Rey Red deck here. What's really interesting about Rey Red is Rey just wants to put stats on the board, whereas Luke wants to put shields on the board. Sometimes that's a good thing for us, and that ends up being in our favor. Sometimes not so much. Usually he wants to go twice here, so let's go ahead and get rid of Razor Crest here, and then we're just going to put the this guy out. Man, I wish I could remember his name. I've played him so much. Oh, interesting. Okay, our opponent is going to go for the Sabine here. That puts us in a strange situation because he can go ahead and defeat all shields on something, and I did not expect this card. This is a really interesting card to see come down. We're going to go ahead and pass. He's probably immediately going to attack into this. If he does not immediately attack into it, we definitely Jedi Lightsaber it, 100%. I think we actually go ahead and get rid of the Concord Dawn in this scenario, because the other option, okay, yeah, he's just going to go ahead and take the attack, is we can, let's go ahead and leave that on top. I think that's pretty good for us. Something that we might want to get our hands on, because we can just play this. He's going to play the Yoda. We're going to play this. I would expect us to theoretically get hit with, potentially get hit with, like, the Force Throw next round. So that's something we just need to be aware of. The Sabine is just absolutely brutal against our deck, being able to defeat shields. Now the scenario that we're in is a little unique in the fact that I think it's actually Village Protectors here. Village Protectors with another shield would be a really good play for us, though. We don't really want to get rid of the Rival's Fall that we kept. The Jedi Lightsaber might be the play here. You know, we do remove stuff, so I think we just get rid of the Jedi Lightsaber. It does hurt us a good bit. Okay, going to go in with the Sabine Wren. Going to remove that right off the bat. We're just going to go ahead and play our Village Protectors then, and we'll shield it up as well, and see what our opponent wants to do from there. Definitely kind of like, I think this was the right play. Oh, okay, we're going to get the make an opening out, just to remove the Village Protectors. The Rose in this scenario, the Rose is interesting. I think we're actually going to leave Rose on the top. We can make use of that Rose, I believe anyway. Let's go ahead and just claim initiative here. I think it'll be important for us to go first. We can double shield that Rose, triple shield if we really want to, which is pretty good for us. Could be a pretty strong turn. Get more shields on her with the Vigilance as well if we needed to. So lots of opportunity there. I expect our opponent, oh, okay, he's not going to get rid of the R2-D2 here. The Luke's Lightsaber, let's just go ahead and ditch the Luke's Lightsaber for now. We're going to play out the Rose. We can give the Rose 2 additional shields this turn, which is, you know, could make Rose potentially very good, making her really hard to get rid of, really hard to remove. If we get it with the Force Throw now, I think that we just probably ditch the Rival's Fall, and allow our opponent chance to, get rid of a shield or something. Oh, okay, he's just going to pillage us, so we're just going to get rid of all of our cards instead. Let's go ahead and give a shield to the Rose, and then we'll probably just give another shield to the Rose here as well. We might not, though. Just depends. It would be pretty good to have initiative here as well. Hoping that we draw that Obi-Wan Kenobi this turn would be pretty good for us. Our opponent could also just sort of take the... Okay, he's just going to go there. Man. I think that we go ahead. Let's take this. Let's go ahead and put that on the bottom. That's not going to be particularly helpful for us, I don't think. Could stem the flow here a little bit, but... I don't think enough that it matters. I think actually maybe the play was to take the 1 damage into the Yoda here. That way the Rose can attack and actually remove it. If our opponent takes initiative, we are probably just going to give Rose another shield. The pillage is pretty difficult for us to overcome here. He's going to take initiative. Let's just go ahead and give the shield to Rose. We unfortunately do not see anything very good here. So we're going to... In a wild set of circumstances, I don't know that we're going to resource anything here. We may actually just drop the... Maybe we drop the Follower of the Way into the discard, and then just a really, really, really dead draw here, which puts us in a tough scenario. He could easily force throw us here, get rid of the last card in my hand. I'm not particularly concerned if our opponent decides that that's the direction that he wants to go, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not too worried about that. If he force throws me, okay, he's going to take the Yoda in with the attack. Let's go here. Let's leave the Vigilance on the top. Now Rose can trade into this, which is pretty good for us. And we can still play this, Yeah, I think that maybe the play was to get the Restored Arc out here so that if he does decide to force throw us, once again, the force throw really only removes our R2-D2, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, okay, that thing is very dangerous. So let's go ahead and deploy our Luke. We have to get rid of the Sabine Wren. Got to make sure. It could have been the play in this scenario to remove the Sabine right off the bat. I think you could have made an argument for that. Either way, we're trading in for 4, so even if he does buff the Sabine here, we just got to be careful the Sabine doesn't, really, really wreck us. Okay, he's trying to decide what he wants to do. Okay, he's just going to go ahead and play her. Let's just go ahead and remove that Sabine. We don't want any of that business there for sure. We'll put the 4 shield tokens on the Rose. Now what we really need is we just need to see Protector. If we see Protector, it just changes everything for us. He can go ahead and attack him with what he wants. We're going to give 2 experience tokens to her. And he really doesn't want to take this Rose or this Rey into Rose. Like, it's just not good for him. Can't actually remove the Luke Skywalker here either. And if he removes our... Oh, okay. He's going to remove the Luke. Let's just go ahead and attack in here. And yeah, let's go ahead and defeat a shield token. And yeah, we had to defeat 2 shield tokens there because we attacked in and also took damage, but puts us in a really good scenario here. So we're going to play... Honestly, it doesn't really even matter if we play the Restored Arc. It's probably more important that we get initiative here because we can... Yeah, we'll get rid of the rest of the shields, but we'll also be able to remove the Rey, which could be really quite powerful depending on what he decides to do with Rey here. I would expect him to just go face with this. And if that's the case, we're certainly just going to claim initiative from him. There he goes. Just goes face. We're just going to claim initiative. We don't care about this Restored Arc. It's something that we can throw away if we need to. This is going to allow us to remove this turn, which is huge. Really, really big. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Restored Arc. And, the bummer is that the Rey, we don't really want to buff the Rose by 2. I really don't want to get by Rival's Fall either, to be fair. I think that the choice here is probably to attack in with the R2 and then with the Rose. I mean, we're also dealing with the very real... the reality of, okay, let's just play this and see what he does. We're also dealing with the reality of the, pillage. And so we just need to be really, really careful about pillage specifically. Um, really want to just be aware of that. Keep the value that he's going to get off of that just to an absolute minimum if we can. 3 damage to our base does put us 10 damage off of being dead, but we are in a situation he can't really do anything with Ray right now, so Ray's not particularly good for him. Unless he gets something else down on the board. An Obi-Wan would be pretty bad for us here, even though we could remove it. We just really wouldn't be able to deal with this Ray after that. That Ray would just get to become an absolute monster, and until we see something like a Fell the Dragon or a Rival's Fall, losing our Rival's Fall, losing our Vigilance here definitely hurt us. Would love to heal. I think what we're doing here is we're attacking with the Rose, probably the R2-D2, then with the Rose. Let's see what our fighter... Oh, okay. Our opponent has decided to probably remove one of our shields. Okay, that's totally fine with us. Let's go ahead and let's put that on the bottom. I think we need stuff that's a little bit more powerful than that. Once again, Ray can't really do anything here. She can attack in and remove my shield, but then I can actually... Okay, there you go. She's going to attack in and remove the shield. We can defeat a unit with 3 or less remaining HP here. So, and give a shield, or we can heal our base for 5. All of those things are pretty good options. We're definitely going to play Vigilance. But the question is, do we remove this and give this a shield? I think that we do, and just try to take control of the board. So let's defeat and shield here. Let's go ahead and defeat this and shield this. And see what our opponent wants to do in response. I think just him not being able to Tarkin down this is pretty important. And I think the +2/+2 here is totally fine. And so we'll probably go ahead and defeat the shield and just create a monstrous 6/10 that can deal with anything he puts down in the future, which I think will be pretty good for us. Okay, our opponent is going to pass. That's interesting. That enables us to pass and attack in with Yoda. So we are going to claim initiative 100% of the time. The Jedi lightsaber is interesting here, but I think that we just want to keep the Obi-Wan. I think that we're going to keep both. Let's just keep both cards, and we're in a great scenario here where we can just attack him with this, remove it, and say that's it. That's all we're going to do. We could definitely get pillaged here. We could get hit. There's a lot of stuff that we could theoretically potentially get hit with that we just need to be careful of and be aware of. Okay, there's the pillage. Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and remove the cards from my hand. Not super concerned about that. I know that he was sort of waiting on that, but we just get a chance to hit his base for 6 here. We could always get hit with the Rival's Fall, but once again, no Rival's Fall in hand. We're going to be able to claim initiative. I think that turn there really was quite unhelpful for him. Even though he's been able to keep cards out of my hand. Oh, okay, looks like he thinks he might have maybe the damage to get rid of our Rose. If he does, he doesn't have it this turn. We're actually going to get rid of the Concord Dawn because they deal the same amount of damage, and this is going to help fix my draw. We're going to take the 6 damage with the Rose right off the bat here because he obviously thinks he has something else to theoretically be able to use. Now, we could run into, say, like Crate Dragon and stuff, which puts us in a pretty disadvantaged, pretty bad situation. But I think it's good to see, like, the viability of this deck. Is it actually good? Is it not good? That sort of thing. We're going to pass that and just take the 6 damage on his base. Okay, we've gotten a chance to kind of reverse the tide here, which is good for us. Unfortunately, we just have really bad cards in hand. Okay, he's going to go ahead and, I'm going to just draw one myself. Interesting. I don't know that that's the choice I would have made. Let's go ahead and put that on the bottom. That's just not super important for us. And I think, well, now he attacks him with this. Maybe it was Vigilance. Let's just go and undo that turn real quick. Let's undo that. Let's play the Vigilance. Let's heal and shield, because I forgot he did ready up. Let's go ahead and heal and shield. Instead, take some damage off our base. Then we can play the R2-D2 next round. Otherwise, he was just going to be able to attack him with the Mace Windu there, and we're in a pretty bad situation. Interesting that this deck runs the Mace Windu. Of course, this does give him the ability to force throw me. He knows the other card that's in my hand, the 1 point of damage onto the Rose to just knock that shield off. Could be you know, it kind of ends me in the same exact scenario, except I don't have an R2D2 on board. But it's still, you know, I think was the better play there in the case that he doesn't have the force throw in hand. And I don't mind undoing before we've seen what he did. Just totally forgot the Mace Windu does ready up if you remove something. Or is it just after he attacks? When this unit attacks and defeats a unit, you get to ready him. Yep. Let's see what our opponent wants to do here. Just take it a moment. Okay. Okay, our opponent's just going to claim initiative. We can take that moment to put this on the bottom, and then put an experience token here and pass. And we drew Protector anyway. Nothing we can do about that. I don't think we're going to ditch any of these cards. We're totally fine with just passing here. See what our opponent wants to do. If he gets an attack in to maybe remove the shield or something. Oh, the Village Protectors. We're going to go ahead and give Protector to our R2D2 here. And then we will bash the R2D2, certainly, and the Rose into the Village Protectors and get it out of here. Unfortunately, as soon as he buffs it with his Ray, we won't be able to actually remove it this round, but that's okay. Okay, he's going to take that in. I think in this case, we are going to leave that on top for sure and remove the shield. He probably should have used the Ray ability there. Should have used the Ray ability. Didn't get to remove anything, so the Mace Windu continues to exist, but that's okay for us. We are going to get the Ray down next turn. Cantina Braggart. That's a really interesting card. And we're going to pass on removing any sort of a shield here. Okay, there's the open fire, which, you know, hey, was kind of expected. We knew eventually that was probably coming. Let's go ahead and give a shield token here. That was probably a misplay. My opponent claims initiative. We get a Rose and a Ray. I think in this scenario, we're probably just putting Ray out and shielding her. So let's go ahead and get rid of the Rose. Okay, yep, that makes sense. Let's play the Ray. My opponent is now just kind of looking to theoretically outvalue me here, which totally understandable. Let's see here. If he attacks in with the mace, it is going to kill his mace, which is good for us. Could have another mace in hand. We haven't seen a Luke Skywalker from him yet. Seems to be playing like a slightly more aggressive deck. Gonna go ahead and play the Obi-Wan. We're gonna give the shield token here. We definitely have just not seen much in terms of fire in our deck. We're missing out on a lot of cards that would be pretty important for us to get our hands on. We have not seen our Obi-Wans yet. We have not seen our... there's a lot of cards we haven't seen. And now he's going to turn on the fire here and just try to go aggressive and see if he can't end the game that way. This is pretty good here. This is pretty good. The 8 for this seems important. This is also a pretty good card, but let's just resource this. I think that the Chewbacca is sort of like the obvious and immediate play here. This is dealing 4. Yeah, he's dealing 5. Let's just go ahead and remove him. And, you know, obviously it's putting us in a kind of a predicament here. We are going to have to get rid of this Green Squadron A-Wing for sure. He stopped resourcing. I'm continuing to resource. I think it's good that we got rid of that, but we really now need our Obi-Wan Kenobis and things. Yeah, he's just going to force a lot of damage to the face, which we could just expect. Going to continue to buff up this Cantina Braggart. Yeah, he's just saying, listen, we're going to deal as much damage to your face as we can and end the game that way. Totally understandable. We're going to claim initiative here. I think we probably end up losing this one. Yeah, at 1 health, certainly end up losing this one. There's just nothing we can do to be able to come back from the damage that our opponent has just turned up the clock on us. And we're just going to pass, and we'll go ahead and concede this one. Give it to our opponent. Listen, you can see a little bit of what the deck is capable of and what the deck isn't capable of. I've enjoyed the deck. But it's definitely my least favorite of the Luke decks. Some of the games are really drawn out. It just feels like you don't have the fire to be able to end the game. In my experience, I think Luke Red, followed by Luke Yellow, actually, were my 2 favorite decks. Sort of played them in line with what I liked, and ended up Luke Blue not being my favorite. Once again, next week, we're going to be going to Vader, Vader Green, Vader Blue, Vader Red, which will be really unique, and Vader Yellow, which might be even more unique. I'm going to have to get really creative with these decks. We're going to be playing some aggressive, strange Vader decks. So stay tuned. Once again, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode or this video. And yeah, be sure to come back and check out my next video.